Hello, folks, and welcome to our first edition of How To, the show where we demonstrate how to do various things. Anything from attacking an apple to zipping a zipper. On today's show, we're going to demonstrate how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. For that, you're going to need a few things. Some of the things you'll need are bread, your favorite kind. Various cheeses. Use what you have. Most things will work pretty well. Some sort of fat, like butter or oil or something like that, to put on the bread so that way it can crisp up while the cheese melts. A skillet or frying pan, and a spatula. For the obvious, you got to put the bread in there to cook. Putting it on the stove is not recommended without one of those. And finally, a plate to put them all on. So I start by turning on the stove. Maybe put it to like a medium heat. Drop it to somewhere in between medium and low once it actually gets hot. And just put that on there to start. And then we'll start grating our cheese. Alright, got the cheese grated. I do that second so that way the stove has time to heat up. And it's not that hard to put mayo on the bread. Alright, and I've got the bread mayoed now too. The reason they say to use mayo, and something that I haven't tried myself, is that it gives a little bit more flavor and it makes it easier for the bread to make a crust. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just put that bottom layer on. You can kind of hear that sizzle, which means that it's probably at the right temperature. You can maybe drop it like a little bit lower. And then you'll start putting your cheese on. Make sure that you've washed your hands, especially if you're touching dirty electronics. Sometimes people put the layer of fat on the inside too. That one's definitely up to you, kind of your discretion. But no matter what you do, pile the cheese on there pretty high because it's deceptively, like it looks like there's a lot, but there really isn't, and it kind of melts. And you know, while I'm telling you about cheeses, it's important to know that if you do actually have the chance, using a melty cheese like a mozzarella or a fontina or something like that is pretty nice to give you those kind of stringy classic bites that you're looking for. You're going to let the grilled cheese kind of sit there for a bit and get a little crust on that bottom side, not moving it too much. Let it kind of sit there and let some of that cheese melt before you put the top part on. You want a little bit of steam to kind of form before you do that. Now that a little bit of steam has happened, I put the top layer on. I'm going to give it a little bit of time to melt before I try to do the flip. I think that's normally where people kind of fail because it's not melted enough and all the cheese goes everywhere. So give yourself a second to let things melt a bit. I'm going to attempt to do this flip with my phone. Normally I would put a hand on the handle. See if we can get this flip on camera. Ah! One, two, buckle my shoe. So, probably could get a little bit more of a crust on there. You hate to have to flip it a couple times, but I think I might flip it back one more time to get a good golden crust on there. But not too bad. We're kind of looking at it. So now we're just going to let this sit for a little bit as well. Not too long because most of the cheese should have melted, but we will take a look. A few things to note while we're letting this heat up. When you're using block cheese, definitely want to use a shredder rather than slicing. I think it helps even out the melting. You know, choose your favorite breads. I recommend sourdough, definitely a really delicious choice. You can kind of feel the edge once you flipped it. It's not very crusty. I can actually feel it pushing in a little bit. That's how I know that I want to flip it one more time to get a better golden crust. And then once you're done, you pull it off of the stove, put it on your plate, and enjoy. I really just want to thank you for watching, and maybe put your favorite cheeses in the comments. Have a great night. And this was How To.